That's why I never planned on being a freestyle rider and didn't really want to be, but it's kind of going that way. And where I get most of my motivation and doing what I want to do is kind of comes from him, because when I was younger, done racing, I thought I was over riding dirt bikes. He's like, yeah, dude, you can't whip your way through life. So
Unleashed with the Dingo and Danny, fueled by Monster Energy.
Welcome to the show, dude.
Thanks for having me on the show, dude.
How's your? Looks like you got a broken wing right there, man.
Yeah, separated my shoulder on Monday, so that wasn't part of the plan this week, but could have been worse, and I'm on the mend.
I feel like plans always kind of go wrong on a motorbike. I feel like if you come off, it's pretty much your can be looking like that.
Yeah, it's been going good for a while, and got me the other day though. So just got an AC separation in my right shoulder. So the doctor said 3 to 4 weeks off the bike, and I'll be good.
And now you're here with us.
Yeah, so now I'm here chilling with you guys.
And always we have Danny Cass, 2-time Olympic silver medalist in the house.
Thank you.
Oh, damn, he's gone quiet all of a sudden.
No, I'm here. I'm showed up, you know.
And then, as usual, now we have Brittany Palmer, who is in the seat every day, the UFC Octagon girl. Sorry, I don't want to say ring. Octagon.
Hello.
How are you, Brittany?
I'm good.
You are obviously the younger Hodges, Dirt Shark, everybody knows very well. And the Slayground videos, when did you start the Slayground videos? Do you remember?
I think I started the Slayground videos in like 2016 at my parents' house in Encinitas, California.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did that come about? Because obviously you've been around bikes, you know, kind of your whole life. You started out racing, yeah?
Yeah, I started off racing. Well, when I was 5, I started riding. I got hurt at a young age, so I just kind of rode for fun until I was like 14, and then that's when I started racing. And then I raced from like 14 to when I was like 18 years old, and then that's when I filmed that Slayground 1 movie. It was when I was like 18 years old at my parents' house. It's kind of the transition coming out of racing to more free ride and more social media and video part riding. And that was my first video. That's what I did every day, is just ride in my backyard, and had my brother come film a sick line going through my parents' house. And that's where the Slayground originated. We're
actually going to drop Slaygrounds 3 right now. We're going to hit it. Slaygrounds 3, this is on YouTube. Trivia, Slaygrounds have now hit over 14 million views on YouTube. That's pretty cool. That's your girlfriend Gabby in her Ethiker kind of underwear there. You're in a trailer.
Yeah, we threw Gabby in there. She's always making sure I'm ready to rip.
Hell yeah.
And now this, there's your dad. There's PH. That's Wallet Guy, right?
Yeah, that's Wallet Guy. That's my dad. He's my right-hand man. Always make sure everything's dialed and ready to go, and I'm safe to ride.
I don't think I've ever been in the same place where you guys aren't in the same place.
Yeah, he goes everywhere with me. I let him do the talking most of the time, because that's what he loves to do most.
So this is Axell's property. You bought this property during COVID, right? And kind of like tore this thing apart and built your own Slayground.
Yeah, this is what we did through COVID. I bought some property like right at the beginning, so couldn't have timed it perfect. And we just went out here every day with Matt McCall. He was the builder of all the jumps, and we just messed around and got it, tweaked all the jumps until we got it right and gnarly enough to make this video. And I was stoked on it. This line right here was so scary and hard to get it all in one line.
Yeah, so kind of explain that. Like right now there's a helicopter cam, and you kind of, you're not stopping. This is all one shot.
Yeah, this is one shot, one lap with the helicopter. I think this is like the 10th try or something. It took 10 tries to get like the whole lap down.
What's the pilot's name again?
Jim McCoy.
Jim McCoy. Heli Jim is a lunatic. I've seen Heli Jim do a full 360 in a helicopter.
Yeah, I get nervous sometimes on the jumps. I gotta look up there to make sure I'm not gonna fly into Heli Jim. He brings that thing low.
Now you come back around. Over the last couple of years through COVID, you've hosted X Games at your property, which was really cool to be able to do that. And now let us know what we're heading into here. No, are we heading into the quarter pipe?
Yeah, it's kind of changed since then, but that's a quarter pipe zone. That's the 120 that goes over the middle of it. And this was a couple years ago, so it's slightly changed over the years, but for the most part,
I like the billboard bank. That thing's super dope.
Yeah, the wall ride's
the wall ride.
Iconic. Taylor Reeve painted.
Really?
Yeah, she paints all Vans shoes and stuff like that, and she's friends with my brother, so she came out and got that thing dialed in and it looks sick.
How did you even find that location? You got the lake you're looking at? It's sick.
Yeah, well, this is in Ramona, and I just love the area. I grew up driving to Ocotillo Wells, and we'd go through Ramona on the way out, and it was always a nice area, and that's just kind of where I knew I wanted to be. And my dad just helped me out finding realtors and stuff, and we actually found a different property that was below this, more by the road, that we were supposed to buy, and then the next door neighbor ended up buying it. And
so he was like, I know what you guys are going to do
with
with
that.
that.
He owns a horse ranch, and he didn't want a big old dirt bike track down there. But
Yeah, you may not be everyone's favorite neighbor, huh?
yeah, but the same people that were selling that had this piece that we ended up buying. It's kind of tucked away and hidden and worked out better and more secluded. So I don't know, you don't want people snooping all your stuff. And
were you the first person to do this, the backflip to wheelie?
yeah, I think I'm the first one to do backflip wheelie and ride it out of the landing.
Now the wheelie to backflip too?
The wheelie to backflip, I'm the first one to do that, and currently trying to mix those two to go wheelie, backflip, wheelie, but you got a little setback the other day, so.
Did you play a lot of Tony Hawk Pro Skater as a kid? Because you're like, I mean, one of the styles, it just stands out so different, right? You like really kind of, I feel like, combine a lot of skate and snowboard style within, you know, the just the combos and the tricks you're creating.
Yeah, I played Tony Hawk every day. Tony Hawk and MX Unleash and ATV Off-Road Fury PlayStation 2 every day.
Sick. Video games pay off.
Video games do pay off.
I think so.
So you're it's very interesting because you kind of created a league of your own in freestyle motocross, right? Growing up when you were a kid, freestyle motocross you know, was Twitch and Ronnie Feist and that whole Brian Deegan and that whole kind of era, Kerry Hart, you know, just and I think that like when you came into it, one thing I noticed, you know, and I've known you since you were pretty young, was like it looked like you were kind of riding a skateboard, or you looked like a skateboarder kind of on your bike. And I think that you made it look like effortless in like a weird way, but effortlessness has kind of carried over, and it's you know, even what you do within the quarter pipe. The quarter pipe is insane. It's my favorite thing to watch now, and the level you've taken it to, but you just make it look so fucking easy, dude. And you know, you kind of created your own path. And it's kind of wild because you know, there's people like Drake and Meek Mill and these people are reposting your stuff. They follow you. You put your music to it. Did you ever think that would be like a thing?
Not really. I mean, I thought I wanted to be a dirt bike racer and thought that was the only way when I was a younger kid is I got to race or I got to do freestyle. And I did not want to do freestyle when I was younger because watching Travis Pastrana and Brian Deegan and Twitch and all those dudes do double backflips didn't really look appealing to me, but now it's kind of going that way. It's more kind of a free ride thing, I'd say, these days. But no, I never really thought that doing what I do, I'd be able to call my job and just post videos and ride my bike and just make up stuff on the rig.
Right.
I just did that regularly when I was a little kid making videos, and yeah, it turned into my job, and super lucky with how it went.
Well, that's kind of how it started, right? You were just posting clips on social media.
Yeah, I was posting clips on social media that were getting traction, and then I did a whip contest at Las Vegas Monster Cup and got second in that, and then I got invited to X Games through that, and that kind of started my X Games career through that, and quarter pipe started becoming things, started hitting that, and just kind of ended up being a freestyle free rider.
And then
on a dirt bike. Let's
bring it back to the beginning a little bit. Growing up as a Hodges, there's 4 Hodgeses, and I think all of them are very different. And I think you've been able to take the best of all of them and kind of piece it together. And you're the best looking one.
Yeah, I don't know. My whole family is crazy and different, but I'd say I'm a Hodges just all in one.
But
take a little bit of crazy from my dad, a little bit of knowledge from my brothers, and I don't know what I got from my sister. We learned how to go at it, but
right. But you kind of grew up within the action sport industry, you know.
My brothers snowboard, they skate, they did everything growing up, so I want to be just like them.
Remember the first time we went snowboarding with Axell, and there was like it must have been one of the first snowfalls of the year or something, right?
Oh yeah, it was like opening season. We like took him on some uncharted runs, and I didn't even know that. I've never seen you moto at that time. So it was pretty cool to like see you kind of ride the mountain and then just watch your career blossom from there, where it was like, wow, I almost killed this guy with like no snow at Mammoth, hitting rocks. And
yeah, that was like, I was a little kid. That's when Field TV was around and you guys were Danny and the Dingo on TV all the time. And my brother was like, you want to go snowboard with Danny and the Dingo? I'm like, yeah. And then you guys took me to the top. It was like a double black diamond. It was snowing and avalanche testing. And I'm like, I'm going. I'm with Danny and the Dingo. And
well,
hit a cliff. I was kind of nabby, but it was fun.
I feel like we felt the same way when we went to the Doonies event and we got thrown into that madness as well, like in the sand dunes with you guys for sure.
Yeah, definitely the crossover. Did you, like, obviously growing up snowboarding and skateboarding, you're around it. Was that an influence that you tried to put into your style of riding, or that just kind of happened naturally?
Yeah, I always snowboarded and I skated a little bit, but I had a lot of friends that skated and they're all better than me and were super sick and had good style. So I never really had that in skateboarding. So I kind of feel like that's where I wanted to be kind of like a skater on my dirt bike and flow and just have good style. And I feel like that, helped a lot with how I ride my dirt bike, skating and all that.
And then in the original, I think it was like your parents' original house, or maybe the house you grew up in. Was that maybe Slaygrounds 1 where you kind of jibbed around the house?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. That was my mom and dad's house. I lived there for like 21 years. I lived there my whole life. And we had an acre down below. My dad put a freestyle ramp and a step up down there. And I had a bunch of little boxes that I'd nose wheelie and wheelie all the time. And driveway with a speed bump. I learned how to do like football field long nose wheelies on it and just would ride down there all the time. And it came time to make a video. So with Monster, that's how Slayground 1 came about. I just thought of some crazy line, how to link it all up in one line at my dad's house, and went down the pool, hopped on a boogie board, rode my dirt bike, did all that stuff, and made a pretty sweet video out of it.
Yeah, well, Ash knows how to make good videos.
Yeah. And Ash and Sydney Mailer came, and just everything about it was pretty cool.
And I think it was at the crossover where like YouTube and social media became like a thing. You know, pre that it was you had to be on X Games or you had to do your video part. And you know, now with freestyle motocross, there's less and less, and you kind of created this own genre, which you know, without you, I don't think it would be striving. Which is the quarter pipe and some of these like freestyle type competitions. How important do you think like that change of social media has been to like your career?
I think super important, just by myself getting out there and marketing myself on YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is. I'm getting my brands out there, my name out there, and getting people that are my fans that support me. They buy merchandise and stuff like that to allow me to have my job, to ride my dirt bike. And if it weren't for the fans, I wouldn't be able to ride my dirt bike every day. How
important is the kit looking good? Like the kit has to look good,
Very
right?
important, yeah. I've been kind of struggling the last couple of years with Slayco, trying to get a gear company going and just dealing with factories and learning all that stuff. It was a lot harder than I thought. So I haven't had that much gear to wear over the last couple of years, so where I'm pretty bummed, but I think it's super important to look good every day and wear something new and fresh to be able to stand out and
but that's
get
also
attention.
Right.
You got to look good to feel good.
Got to look good to feel good.
Yeah, look good to feel good.
But that's also right, I think, in the change of, again, social media, being able to push and being able to build your own brands and have your own brands, do your own drops. That stuff's changed a lot over the time too. You know, back when we had Grenade, there was only a few companies around and you had to go to a Zoomies or you had to, like, I don't even think like online, you couldn't even really buy anything online in those
No,
times.
I mean, it was kind of like frowned upon to sell it online or at least sell it through your own company. And now it's sick because you can click on somebody's profile and the link right there to get all of this sick gear is, right below your name on Instagram.
And it's like super customizable, right? Like you chose that you had to have so much part of the design and like the choices opposed to back then where it's just kind of like the brands, like this is what you're going to promote. But now it gives opportunity for athletes or influencers to choose their own, and you really get a part of that creative process.
Yeah, and I think it's cool too, us doing it too when we pack it and do all that stuff. We could put in signed items and customize stuff. And then every drop we do, I try to give like free posters. I'll sign a bunch of posters and put them in orders and just try to stoke out the fans that support me.
That's what it's about.
Try to give back and give them hook them up a little bit.
Well, you utilize that too, right, Brittany? Like
Yeah.
it's that online social presence that's able to grow your brand and being able to identify it to yourself. Whereas
Yeah.
back in the day, there wasn't much identifying, which was good for us back in the day
And-
because you didn't have many choices.
But
There
the thing
wasn't
is,
many choices. Yeah.
people want the story. They want to feel attached to it, not just like this assignment. It's just like, so when I put out something, it's like my creative, or when you like it's a piece of us, and that's why people are buying it. Not just because it's also a really great product, but you know, we're all like, it's like a team thing.
Right. What I wanted to talk to you about was kind of the future of, I remember the last competition that happened, I believe, for a quarter pipe X Games on your property. I believe you were 40, what was it? What was your number? How high were you above the lip?
I think I was 48 feet above the lip.
Right. So you're 48 feet above a lip. How high is the takeoff? So like
The takeoff is 18-foot tall takeoff. We're going 48 feet above that. And then my landing at my house is 26 feet tall, which it has a little bit run out of like, that goes under the base of the landing. So it's a little extra run out and transition to where you're landing so your knees aren't collapsing on impact on the landing.
58, I'm not good at math, so you're about 64 feet off the ground.
64 to 69, I think.
Yeah,
somewhere
something
there.
around. Yeah.
So wait, was it? And this was massive. I remember seeing a photo Dingo sent me when he was on the property.
He thought it was fake.
I was like, "Is this real?" But also, like, was that the biggest you've gone on it?
Yeah, I think so. That's the hardest I've ever been hitting it, is just coming into that thing second wide and
So you're in second gear.
second gear. Yeah.
Is everyone in second gear?
For the most part. I know Tyler Bierman last year, he was in third gear.
Because I
But
remember
it just-
after after your last run, you were like, if I go any higher, I'm something bad could happen.
Yeah, though that whole contest, I was just trying to go higher and higher, but keep it in my limits of not getting all squirreled out and crashing on that thing. Because if you go down, it's pretty gnarly on that thing. You're going 60 feet in there, 69 feet in there to flat. You're going to get wrecked. So I was trying to keep it in control and just go higher and higher. And yeah, it was scary. We got up there towards that 50-foot mark, and I think there's more in the tank. We just got to keep going.
Well, that's my next question. So you're pinned in second. To go higher, obviously you're going to third gear. What happens when you're
Did
pinned
no
to
one
third?
think about going to third gear? No.
Yeah, third gear. Yeah, thinking about it, but just you got to make it work because you need so much bottom end on the
Yeah.
ramp because it's so steep and like abrupt. In third gear, it won't like have that bottom end hit. So I think it would be nice to have a third gear that hit hard in the bottom and pulled long through the top. You just have to figure out how to make it work and test it. So
Yeah,
I think third gear is coming pretty soon.
at that point, right? It's kind of about making the takeoff bigger.
Yeah,
Kinda
just trying to
changing it a
figure out
little bit.
how to G out off the thing because you're coming into such a steep ramp and giving it all, your knees are going to just buckle at a certain point. So
And have you G'd out on it before?
I've G'd out before, and yeah, it'll just shoot your front end up and you won't have that rotation coming around. And you'll just kind of be stuck and start falling like a feather, and it doesn't have that rotation of bringing the front around. So it's pretty terrifying. I've crashed that way of getting the front shot up, not coming around, landing sideways, and
And you just hold on. I feel like
at
this-
that point you just hold
like
on.
how do you
Yeah,
how do
just
you
hold on.
learn? Because for me in my bike experience, like I grew up such a skate rat, but I'd get on a bike and I always like for the last second I try and get off of it or get away from it, and I feel like I've taken the worst slams of my
Yeah.
life learning how to bike alone. But like, what is it like where you learn to like? How do you learn to just hold on to that thing?
It just
till the
kind of
very
like
end?
seat time and learning how to crash. And I don't know, I've crashed and ridden for so long now. I think my muscle memory just kind of takes over at that point of when I'm in that situation. I kind of know what to do now and can usually roll out of it pretty good now. But
Is there
Just
like a
seat time.
certain body position? So like when you crash, it's just that you just tuck and roll. Like what is the
yeah, it depends how you're going down. But
Right.
most of the time you just want to tuck
get your
shoulder.
extremities in and
Yeah, and you
go.
want to roll. You don't want to
Right. Well,
just flounder
snowboarding,
and
same
bounce
thing.
off stuff.
There's ways to fall in snowboarding.
Yeah,
Not like
I'm good at
this.
falling at snowboarding. I did
Yeah.
it, done it
Yeah,
my
it's
whole
just,
life.
I'm not as good as you. It's like the same thing. It's just time and
Hold still and go.
muscle memory.
Yeah.
But it's off guard when it catches you off guard and you don't have time
Sure.
to tuck. That's when it'll get you off guard. And
Yeah.
those are the bad ones.
So you have 12 X Games medals, and you are, the most mainstream freestyle motocross person at the moment, maybe of all time, the most, posted about, the most talked about. But you have the Guinness Book a record for the longest jump. Did you get the record? Like, I wanted to go back and talk about that day at the airfield there, where it was, I believe it was live on TV, and you got. I saw the video footage of you got the record, but then it was the person wasn't there.
Guinness wasn't there, and the record I think was for ramp to ramp.
Yep.
Which I think there's a ramp to dirt record too, which Alex Harville is. I think he holds that at 425 or something. But I went ramp to ramp, 396 feet. Somewhere around there was my farthest one, and then the next day I ended up going down around 400 feet. But yeah, I don't really know if I hold the record or not. I just know I jumped far on a dirt bike, and I'm pretty satisfied with that.
Right, and I mean, obviously a lot comes into that. Like, what you're obviously not. You're not using a standard bike, are you?
I was using a pretty much stock KX 450, but we would just kind of re-gear it, and we put a different pipe on it. We didn't really want to touch the motor too much, because when you start getting into the motor and modifying it, you just have more risk of your motor blowing up, and I didn't want my bike to blow up going 100 miles per hour off the ramp.
Is that what you're doing? 100 miles?
106 was the
Wait,
fastest.
what? Are you kidding me? You took off going 106 miles an hour?
106, 396 feet was my farthest. And I got it all on my iPhone. I just have never made a video of it.
You haven't?
Yeah.
Just saving it.
That's a good saver.
Really?
Yeah.
And then when you're in the air, I mean,
I don't know. Maybe one day we'll get back to it and handle it. But
I mean, that was definitely like a question I was wondering, right? With like your riding style, like you push the boundaries of style and freestyle, but combined, like, is that something you ever like think about, is like as far as following in the footsteps of Evel Knievel and like
yeah, I
jumping
think
crazy
about it. Like,
shit?
I definitely probably want to do it again. I just have a couple other things I want to check off before revisiting
Yeah,
it. It's just,
I would say so.
it's just such a gnarly thing to do. It was all cool. Like 300 feet was cool. 325 was cool. But when you get to the 350 foot mark, everything just kind of changes, and physics start really coming into play of jumping and
Wind, everything.
body positioning, back brake, throttle. It just all just comes into it, and it's a whole new ball game, and it becomes very scary.
are you in the air like tapping the brakes to like level out, or?
Yeah, well, in the beginning, you kind of want to tap the rear brake to stop the rotation of your rear tire to drop the front.
Yep.
Because when you when you hit the brake, it stops the rotation of the tire, which when it's rotating, it's heavier because it's just moving so fast. So it's velocity, and it's pulling down the rear end. So you brake, it lines up the back end and drops the front, which when I crashed, I pulled up when I went just naturally, because when I go off a jump, I pull up and my front was up and I didn't brake in time. And you got to kind of brake at a certain point, or else if you're too late, your front will just start coming up. And I braked too late, and then it was just over at that point.
Is there anything that you like in your mind that you like want to jump, or is there like an idea of like, people have the building to buildings or this or that, or the Grand Canyon, or I don't know, Ayers Rock? Is there?
I just have a bunch of combo lines I want to do. I kind of like doing a bunch of wheelies, flip wheelies, and it's kind of uncharted territory of there's stuff that hasn't been done in that area. So I don't know. I really like doing the backflip to wheelies and wheelie backflips, and I want to do a backflip nose wheelie, and I just kind of want to check off all those combos. And
Yeah, there was what some of the coolest shots when your brother did the Kurt Busch video when they closed down the roads there in Key West, and it was actually a civilian, I think, filmed the video of you jumping that day on cruising on the boat.
Yeah, we're on the bridge, and there's the boat there in the water, and they're taking videos of us with their phones. Yeah,
but that's like like Kurt Busch and his NASCAR. The idea was that like driving down into Key West, Florida from Miami, and the police shut all the roads down. And that's also ticking it off, like, right, having the freeway shut down, having a helicopter follow you, Kurt Busch drive by while you're doing your free. It's things like that it's not the evolution. It's about where and how can you do it, and that was a pretty special moment, I think.
Yeah, that was super special. Being able to call Kurt Bush, a friend, is pretty cool.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like one of the
Commented
boys.
on my video yesterday. Yeah, what up, Kurt?
I mean, what a down-to-earth guy, and we are so blessed and lucky to have Kurt Busch be a part of the Monster Energy family. And there's actually a cool idea. I don't think I can say it now because we're live, but there's a cool idea with putting you two together again in a big city that may have an Apple involved in it. Put 2 and 2 together.
There you go.
We have a special guest, and it's no secret that your dad has been a huge part of your career and a huge part of your life, for better or worse. Let's introduce Wallet Guy. Are you back? Is he in the green room? Is he there?
Started the
This is where
engines.
everything comes from.
What do I say?
You're back here next to Brittany.
Oh, good.
Yeah. We figured you would slip nicely in between Danny and Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
PH, the legend.
We've done a couple father-son duos, and we figured this would be like one of the strongest. Obviously, you guys have been on a huge journey. You must be a proud parent. You've raised 4 awesome kids, but you spend a lot of time with this one.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
You guys do. I see you shaving each other's backs. I see you. Do you have a hairy
Have we
back?
done that?
Yeah, we haven't done that
That's
one in
a
a while.
That's a while ago.
I moved out, so we haven't really shaved our backs in a while.
Well, no, when Ash left, then we,
You know,
I had to do it.
but I really want to talk to you about the property in Ramona and that kind of coming together during COVID, and what that kind of like means to you, and then also like, you know, for both of you, like to have X Games there for 2 years and really help an industry through a time that was tough for everybody. I feel like you guys really came through and were able to maintain something for when there was not much going on. So
Well, I mean, we got into December, just before the COVID hit, when it started like in March 2000. So we were in there 3 months, but we were up there every day, and you know, we had no TV, nothing. So you're not in with all the COVID, the mask and everything. It's kind of funny. We'd be out there all week, and then we go home, you know, go to Home Depot, and you forget, oh, we got to put a mask on. So, I mean, we were away from it the whole time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice, you know, not watching the news.
Yeah, we were just playing in the dirt.
and when you bought
Coming
that
to get
place,
the
it was
booster and all that. We didn't even see none of it. But then, you know, then we started traveling. You know, Monster had us going. We went over to Japan, Italy, when that was it. You know, mass. But we were away from it at Ramona. It was good. So we did spend a lot of time there because nobody was really doing anything, and we did get the most of it built up. And then Ash came in. We came in with Monster Slayground 3.
Yep.
So then we really built it up, and I mean, we're just out there the whole time.
Nobody's testing the jump. Like you're it, right? Like you scope something and you're basically the only one out there testing it, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I'll have Tyler come out there with me every once in a while. He'll hit some jumps with me, but no one else really wants to come out and hit big jumps with me during the middle of the
I
week.
can
why.
see that. Yeah, like, that's a call I would probably avoid a few times. I'd be like, let's text, see what this is all about. I'll come out. I'm gonna bring in my gear.
Axel's like Travis Rice in his peak going out in the back country. Everyone's like, you can go, dude. It's all good.
Yeah.
How so PH, you grew up in Michigan, and then like I've seen pictures of you on a dirt bike when you were younger. You looked the stuff.
Oh, we just on one recently. Ash did that 2-stroke video.
Yeah. That was cool.
That was a picture.
Yeah. You still got it, but. How was it for you coming out west and then kind of building this like action
You know,
sport
it's
family?
kind of funny. It's a long story. I don't get into it, but you know, when I was younger, like Axell, I want to be professional motocross. I'm talking 1971. So, you know, and I got into it. I was racing amateur in Michigan up to, I think, 76. I guess I'm giving my age here, but 1971, 76. You know, I was on it. I was doing the amateur stuff, and you know, the dream, like everybody else, you're going to go pro. But back then, you know, everybody's pro now. It wasn't as big of a sport as it is now. But then, you know, got a girlfriend, kind of like everybody else, got out of it, got working in that. And so I was just out of it completely. Didn't get on a dirt bike until, you know, I had the kids, Ash, Austin, and Axel. And we were doing the baseball thing, the soccer thing, lacrosse and all that. And it just started getting kind of political with all the families, everything screaming, you're not playing my kid in a baseball game and this, that. So I said, screw it, we're going back to dirt bikes.
And then obviously you
Well, no,
between you
it
and
was
Rick.
funny. I went out of motocross for 30 years. I came back in it, and then here I am sitting with Danny, Cass, and Dingo. Okay, I mean, we're back
Just
in the
sucked
scene.
you right
It's just
back in.
funny. I got out of it, and I'm back in it. But you know, but even with Ash and Austin, I got them going, and you know, they kind of went off to school, and then Axel came. You know, what, 10 years later, we thought we were pretty much done with it, but then Axel was the guy. So I go, oh shit, we got to do this again. So we just kind of get behind it. And it's a big family effort. I better say Amber, Ash, Austin, and Farrah. Okay, good. I said it.
Yeah, you got them all.
You
You got them all.
I gotta say that. I gotta say
Wonderful
that.
people. I've done Thanksgiving with the Hodges, and I love and
Oh,
appreciate
that was
you guys.
yeah, that was good. That was at Ash's. Yeah,
I slept all week.
yeah, that was a good time.
But for you, obviously, he started out as a racer. Was it hard for you when it started to transition, or for you,
Very.
like, it was?
But yeah, it started out. It was kind of casual. Axel just kind of, I got him a 150 Honda, put him in a race, won it. Like, whoa, we got a racer here. So I was dad all in. And that first year with the Loretta's, C-class champion, right?
Yep. C-class champion.
And then, but we went back there not with the attitude like, we're all in, training. But we just went back there. It was our first race. It was like a weekend race, and he won it. So then after that, we found out how big of a deal that was. So then we're all in. I mean, motors, money, training, all that. And you go back the next year, and you're all psyched out. I mean, we went there, didn't give a shit. It worked fine. But when you start working it, but Axell, I'm still like Moto Dad. Let's go race Supercross, Axell. I'm that guy, but it's expensive. It's a lot of work. A lot of training.
Hence wallet guy?
Well, it wasn't wallet guy. Wasn't him because of that. I could tell you that story, but anyways, it was getting expensive, and Axell wasn't having fun. And it was I think Axell getting in what he does. He enjoys riding, loves riding. And fortunate for him, the internet was just coming around then, and he just did it, kind of playing it, kind of involved into this. And I want to say he's a pioneer in it, but he on the dirt bike doing all this crazy shit and doing.
He 100% is a pioneer.
Well, yeah. I mean, but he was doing, what was it, Snapchat and buying videos and that.
Yeah, that's when Vine
but it was
a
him
thing.
and his DEFCON, James Hughes. But they were just filming down there, 14 years old, just having fun playing. But then after about 17, 18 racing, he wasn't having fun with it. So he went back into this, but his timing with the internet was good. So, the exposure, that you can get out there for sponsors if you're listening.
Yeah, they're listening. Shout out.
Caterpillar, again, if you're listening.
Slayco. The
Let's
Slayco
go.
dropped today. You guys do really good at that. I heard that started in your garage.
It's still in our garage.
PH, we love you. You're a legend. I got stuck in like one of these weird
Chat rooms. He's in a chat room.
I got stuck in a weird chat room, but we switched to PH with a dirt shock. Brr. Crowd goes crazy.
There we go.
The famous dirt shock created here at Monster Energy, and obviously the brother of Axell. Thank you for joining in.
Yeah, where did Dirt Shark come from?
That's a good question. It was, I started Monster, I think, 09, summer 09. I was doing the outdoors. I was the motocross team manager, and I had Transworld gave us some flip cams. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
I remember a flip cam.
That was before like cell phone cameras. They looked like a cell phone, but flip cam. So they gave them to us. I took one, and then I was the motocross TM, or maybe the coordinator at the time. I don't know, but I was the motocross team manager, and I just started like filming with this thing like everywhere, and it came about with Jason Lawrence. So
J-Law.
And then J-Law. Nobody really knows that, but it was me and J-Law, and we're sort of chilling at Washougal, and I was like this dirt bike guy, but I didn't live in the 909 or out in Marietta or Temecula. I always lived in like Newport Beach or by the beach. So the shark sort of comes from the beach, and the dirt originates from the moto part. And I'd always just come up on nobody. Like whenever I do my interviews, I never set up or prep. I just sort of lurk up on them and attack, and I come from behind, so I get the real reaction. So none of my stuff is rarely set up. With
Those videos
anything.
were all behind the scenes at Supercross, right?
Yeah. So Dirt Shark originally started from. I started filming in motocross, but then it got real A1 2010, and I did it. And then my roommates at the time, Mike Wood, one of our good homies, he was actually unemployed, and he just knew how to edit, and he started editing. And then my other cousin, which we called him Roach back then, he doesn't like that name, but Joey Hodges, I'm calling him Roach.
Why would he not like
Roach
that?
was actually
name.
he was actually went to Super Park in Keystone, and he was a snowboarder. He lived with Louis Vito in Vermont. He was trying to be the pro snowboarder, and he broke both his ankles at a Super Park in 09. And remember they had at Keystone? Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone was getting broke off.
Yeah,
at
so he got
Super
broke
Parks.
off there, and then he moved in with Austin in Santa Barbara, and that one sort of wrecked him. And he came down to Newport, and then next, it's like 2 months later, and he's living on my couch. So he started making all the beats. Mike did the edit. We did A1 2010. It was one vlog, and then it just sort of, with a flip cam, just took off from there. And the rest is just sort of history. And then we started I learned how to sort of, work with cinematography and filmers, and I got way more educated on how to film stuff, where it really just started off as like a vlog, which is super popular now. So I went the opposite way. I used to do cine.
Nah, dude, you're a trendsetter.
So I went vlog to cinematic. I went the other way. So, but I don't know. Now we're doing high-end moto videos, and, Axell, when we started Dirt Shark was, I don't know. You're young, dude. You weren't even like...
He was dirt trout.
You weren't even the C-class champion.
I don't think
so
I was in. I don't think I was racing yet.
He wasn't even in the
Yeah.
game when I started Dirt
I
Shark.
was just
So
barking on a 150, chilling.
When you were racing,
Going to school.
when you were racing like that, what age bracket? Who were you competing against now that would say is still racing?
That's still racing. Like RJ Hampshire, when I was A class, he was A class.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not that many people from when I raced really
was on
raced.
small bikes.
Yeah, Cintarello's like my age, but I never really raced him because he was always like A class, super mini. I was always like C
Plessinger.
class. Plessinger, yeah.
Oh, he's
Plessinger.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got second behind Plessinger, 450B, Loretta's.
And then when did you kind of notice that this could be a thing, Ash?
This is the craziest part about me and Axell was like I moved out like when I went to college when I was 17, and Axell had been like 3 years old. So I was already like sort of like moved out, and Axell sort of got hurt when he was 5. A lot of people have already heard that story. He got hurt when he was 5, and you didn't ride to win. You're 10 or 11 again.
10, yeah.
So I
Got
sort
a
of
bike in
had.
5th grade again.
I was sort of going through my 20s, had all these, I was at Alpine Stars. I did a militia little run for like a year. I was like working all these like industry jobs. And then me and Axell didn't really connect until like hanging out tight until he started like racing again, which he got involved with what I'm doing. And then he started racing, and then, he started doing good. And then he just sort of, I got him sort of, I'm all, come up to Twitch's house, and, let's get him. He's hitting these big jumps now. So it's like, he can come ride all these places where I'm filming, and I try to, just put him with the right guy so he could elevate, and it just ended up working out. And back to what you guys are talking about, he started filming all these, like, Axell does all his own videos. I do all my own videos, and he, like, did all his own videos. Like, he was editing them and doing everything on his cell phone. Like, he's like a professional, like, iPhone editor. Like, I don't think there's anybody like better than him that
And you
can like
still
iPhone.
do it all
I
by
used to be
yourself?
a little bit better.
Yeah,
I used to do it a little
so-
bit more, but
so,
I
like,
can make a mean iPhone edit.
The only videos I've really done of Axell like are the bigger ones, Slayground, like that I've edited. All the other stuff he created, which is dope because I would like to think I'm an influence, but he he was at my parents' house down in Encinitas, and they were just having fun. And it was
I would
right
film
when-
on his old VX1000 Sony camera. Just
Yeah.
put tapes in that thing and film over all his footage.
Yeah, so all my old
Put in
footage is
that movie.
gone. But he went.
You just clear it?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
so much like Razor scooter footage probably filmed over all this stuff. In, like
That
fourth
was like
grade.
2010, 11. So he just started doing all this shit right when Instagram like hit. So, really, back to the pioneer thing. I was saying, I truly think, I know he's my brother, but he is, because he was the first like moto rider really to come from a racer into, I don't even think he's a freestyler. I think he's like his own genre.
I think so too.
It's like more of a free ride genre, but he was the first guy to really put a moto personality on Instagram that became popular. So I think he was like one of the first ones that, an innovator to start
Well,
that.
I mentioned a little bit earlier, but it's just crazy because it transcended into like the rap kind of lifestyle world where it's like, again, like you'll put an edit together and tag Drake, and Drake follows you, but reposting it, like he's like he's probably the highest selling musician of all time. Like that's fucking crazy, and that's its own genre. Like nobody else is doing that.
Yeah, I guess like sort of, I think that what sort of stands out with Axell is just his sort of creativity. Obviously how big he's gone, but he's just done a lot of like different combos and tricks, and like freestyle motocross, which I give credit to a lot of guys, because from the Australians to Jacko to Travis Pastrana to all these guys, like they're going so big and they've done the most dangerous shit, but Axell's just sort of always done his own different sort of like stunts and lines, and he's just sort of been more creative, which I think that's what makes him sort of stand out. He can, he just started to learn how to backflip, stuff like consistently, like just recently. He's never even had that in the back six where
Yeah, but
guys
then
have
all of a
been doing that for
sudden,
years.
he's wheeling into backflips and
That's
wheeling
what I
out
mean.
of
So
Well,
it.
that's where I never planned on being a freestyle rider and didn't really want to be, but it's kind of going that way. And where I get most of my motivation and doing what I want to do is kind of comes from him, because when I was younger, done racing. I thought I was over riding dirt bikes. He's like, yeah, dude, you can't whip your way through life. So I'm
He's whipping his way through life.
Yeah.
You can whip for a certain amount of time, and then you got to wheelie the rest out.
Do some flips. And that's where I started to learn some tricks and kind of putting all that together. But that was one thing he told me when I was little is you can't whip your way through life.
I like that.
I didn't even see it. Do you have a foam pit in your? I didn't even see it when
No, I have an
track.
airbag I'll blow
okay.
up every now and then, but
Every now and then, so you're just going.
oh yeah, and then he just hitting jumps usually.
Would you ever jump out of a helicopter like they've done on a scale, like Danny Way did, and then jump from a helicopter into a quarter pipe out with your bike? Is that something?
Sounds like a pretty sick idea. We just got to figure out how to.
It'd have to be
Yeah,
like
do you think
that.
you hang on the
You
rope
can't
and you
buddy
like
hop a
kind
dirt
of
bike.
No, it'd have to be one of those like military helicopters where the back opens and then you can just drive off.
perfect? You're right near
Yeah.
Enough time to
the
dump
Marine
clutch.
base down there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You'd have to get a serious helicopter to do it, but you could do it.
Or you
So,
could be like in the roped in,
Yeah.
like kind of do some sort of
But you don't want
Tom
to be tied
Cruise.
to the bike.
Right back to Tom
110.
Cruise.
110 would make it easier, but that's pretty sketchy
No
too.
suspension.
I think
110. What is because they did a couple 110 competitions. That's obviously it's fun to do it, but it's you guys aren't taking that too
he's
seriously.
back-to-back gold medalist.
It looks good on your
right.
resume. It must be awesome just being able to have a creative mind like that. Be like, all right, what can I do? It's not like every week I've got to show up to a race and Thursday through Sundays, kind of like, all right, qualifying to fucking get to the finals to do this. You've created this path that's your own path, which makes it easier on yourself to not be stressed out all the time, I bet.
Yeah. There's certain times you're stressed, but most of the time compared to racing, I get to just go ride and have fun on my dirt bike. And yeah, when I'm having fun, that's when I get the best videos.
Shout out to Dirt Shark. Thank you for coming in. Shout out
you.
to PH. Axell, you just keep being you, dude. You're a fucking legend. We love you. Don't stop. What's the most important equipment that's a part of your bike? What's the most important thing?
Of my bike
Yeah.
or like gear?
Yeah, no, like bike.
Kawasaki KX450.
That's the most important thing. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, guys, that's kind of a wrap from me. And Danny, we love you.
Thanks. We love you, Dingo.
I love you. Brittany, we love you.
We love you, Dingo.
Dirt Shark, I love
Thank
you.
you. Thank
you.
PH, Axell, boom. That's a wrap. We're out. Thank you, guys.
Unleashed with the Dingo and Danny. Fueled by Monster Energy.